Hey guys, we're live. I'm Jeff with eBay Addicts, and today I have a brand new guest for you guys, Red Mountain Resell. How are you doing today, bro?
Good. How about yourself, man?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well, bro. Go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience just in case they don't know who you are.
All right. What's going on, everybody? My name is Eric. I go by Red Mountain Resell on YouTube, Instagram, and most importantly on eBay. I'm a part-time shoe seller. I used to be in a bunch of different categories, and earlier this year, I decided to change to just shoes because the return was just incredible.
Okay, all right. So you live up in Maryland. You're a part-time reseller, and you're a YouTuber now. You know, it's like whether or not you
Yeah.
wanted to, you're a YouTuber now. So go ahead,
Yeah.
tell me. First of all, I got to figure out how did you get started into this resale business because you still work your regular 9 to 5 job. Did
Yep.
you like come to your wife one day and she's just like, you lost your mind? Why do we have shoes piled up to the ceiling? Or just tell us a story about what happened.
It was kind of like ironic. It was weird the way it happened. I say it because last year, 2020, right? Yeah, 2020 in around January, February, I just started looking into like a way to create businesses, like, and what would be the best business for me, like, the lifestyle we have. And I landed on online, doing something online. So I got on YouTube and I started finding people that were making a living on eBay, which was weird to me because I've always purchased stuff on eBay, but never thought about selling things to make like income. So
Yeah.
I was thinking of these ideas and came across somebody that was buying these liquidation lots and reselling those like Amazon returns. So that's how it started. And I told my wife how I was going to do it was I was going to sell all my personal records to get enough money to buy these lots and then start reselling them. And she was like, okay, that sounds good. And then the pandemic happened. So it was kind of good for us because those lots came directly to the house. So I didn't have to go anywhere. And I was doing pickups
Yeah.
from USPS. So I just had time to focus, learn, make my mistakes. And yeah, that's pretty much how it like got going. So I was like thankful to have that like time to focus on it.
So you were trying to figure out a way to make some extra money. You were kind of doing some research, and I guess you kind of came to the conclusion like, hey, I could go ahead and start reselling on eBay because it's a very low barrier to entry. I don't need a ton of capital to get started. And you watch other people online that were doing it, and you're like, hey, let's give it a shot. I think I could do this, right?
Yes.
And
I
so
should
when you
have.
talk
Oh, go
when
ahead.
you talk to your wife about it, was she on board? Was she just like, "Hey, let's do it. I can't wait to." I'm just asking because some people's spouses are just like they just think that you're just cluttering the house up with junk, and then some people are cool with it. Like my situation, it was like, "Yo, you're just wasting your time. You have junk piled up in the house." And then one day I was listing items. And then she
Yeah.
saw my 90-day total and was like, give me that cell phone. I got to see what you made. How much money in 90 days? And then
Yeah.
it was like, oh, you better be in there listing. So
Yeah.
tell me, how was it for you? Like,
She
what
was
was your wife cool? Was she understanding with the situation, or how did it go?
she was 100% on board, and I think that's because I came to her with a plan, and my plan involved my own hobby, right? Like it was, I'm gonna sell my personal stuff, my hobby stuff, to get this started. I'm not gonna mess with our bill money and gamble because it was, I didn't know for sure at first. So telling her that and breaking it down that way, and I'm like, hey, look at these things that are on these, these in the manifest on these liquidation sites, and then we'll look on eBay and you can see how fast some of the stuff is selling. So she was like, yeah, go ahead and try it out. Just what do you have to lose, right? It's coming to the house. Like, yeah, get it started. And it was on from there.
All right, we're live. Let me say hello to a few people in the chat. I wanted to say hey to Dixon's Pixons is in the chat. I wanted to say hey to LKL Graphics. Keith is here. Harry Humpstone is in the chat. He says, hey fellas. And I wanted to say hello to the ATL
Hey,
Flipper. He says, what's up, everybody?
go
Jeff
on.
and Eric. Hey, what's up, ATL Flipper? You was just on your channel the other day, wasn't he? I watched the replay.
Was that was great. It
Yeah.
was amazing.
And I wanted to say hey to Flip the World is in the chat. He
Yeah,
says,
Chris.
hey, Jeff, Eric, and chat, what's up? So how did that go with when he came by to hang out with you? How did that go?
It was great. I was probably more nervous than him because that's my first time, like, quote unquote, like interviewing someone, just having someone on. So it wasn't me just talking about like my week or my day like I've been doing. It was like, okay, kind of have some questions, but I didn't want to have like these standard questions like, what do you sell? Who are you? Like, I wanted to
Yeah.
be more fun, and he was amazing. It was really fun.
Okay, I wanted to say hey to Kelly Reseller. Louise is in the
Hey,
chat.
what's going
And I
on?
wanted to say hey to the Selling Sniper. He says, hey, Jeff.
Hey, what's
Hey,
going
Rocky
on, man?
Mountain Resell. This is the interview I've been waiting for. All right.
What's
So,
going on, man?
right. So So now tell me a little bit about, first of all, I wanted you to kind of talk about, I can tell, I don't know how or why, but I can tell by the way you talk and the way you pronunciate your words that you're educated. Like I can tell that you went to college somehow, somewhere. So tell us a little bit about this whole story so you went to college. What did you study in college? And kind of like, what was your major? And does it pertain to you in the real world? Because there's a lot of people that go to college, they get this degree and it hangs on the wall and it's like in liberal arts or history and it has nothing to do with like what they do in the real world. So tell us a little bit about how that was for you.
So I ended up going back to school, and it was funny because I've said forever, I don't want to go to school. I don't care about school. I can find a job and be fine. And then we got to a point, my wife was like, yeah, I'm ready for you. You should go back to school. And during that time, I was a stay-at-home dad when we had our first daughter. And my undergrad was in cybersecurity because I had a job in mind. And I ended up finally getting into that field. And then I just continued and got my MBA. So I am actually doing what my degree is in. I just found out I don't like I don't like it. Like it's not as entertaining as I imagined it would be.
Oh, okay. ATL Flipper says Eric has a PhD, and Flip the World says a PhD in insole cleaning. So I was laughing. I wasn't laughing at your degree. I was laughing at the people in the chat. So,
yeah, man.
So you went to school, you got your master's degree, you went to college, you got this degree, and then now when you got into the real world, you're just like, I don't know if this was really worth all the time and money and energy I went to school for to get this degree. I mean, it sounds nice on paper, but then when you actually, when you actually get it, like, when I was a young guy and I graduated high school and went to college, I wanted to get an MBA degree in business. I wanted to get a master's in business administration. And when I first got out of high school, this was like back in 2002, right? So I got out of high school, my mom and dad and everybody, they were like, hey, Jeff, if you get an MBA degree in business, these jobs start out at college at $100,000 a year, right? So while I was in college getting my credit hours to go through it, one day I typed it in on Google and it said the average starting salary was like $50,000 a year. And at that point, I was like, man, I'm making more money, working at GE, driving a forklift with no office, no degree, no college debt than what I would start out with this degree. So somewhere along the lines, I had 60, 70, 80 college credit hours. And I was just like, man, this is not worth it. I would go to class and the professor will be talking about his pet cat. And I wasn't trying to be rude, but I was just like, how does this pertain to what we're studying for the exam? Like I could be working a double shift, making money. And here you are talking about your pet cat. Like we just weren't getting along at all, or sometimes I would show up to class and there would be a note on the door that says class is canceled. And I'm like, man, I turned down 4 hours of overtime to come to this class for what? So I had definitely have been there before where you're like, you feel like, is this really worth an investment of my time going to school? So you started in this resale game. I wanted to get into you buying this liquidation lot. So tell me, because I have it every time I go out and I look for like pallets of merchandise or liquidation lots, it's either junk, it's way overpriced. And I look at it and because like I go there and the guy's like, oh, this is $4,000 worth of merchandise. And I'm like, bro, I don't even see $400 worth of merchandise. Like, I don't know what you're looking at, but I just don't see it. I mean, you've got plastic lawn chairs sitting in this pallet and I don't see, I mean, maybe you can show it to me, but on my app, it's not showing no $4,000 lawn chair. So how did that came to be? And tell me a little bit about when you started ordering these liquidation pallets. Was the stuff gold or was it junk? Was there a lot of broken stuff? Was it returns? Tell us a little bit about that.
So in the beginning, which was March, April of last year, it was great. The lots were cheap. They were well priced, even factoring in the like the seller premium, which is 10% of the total sale, and the shipping, because I had to get it shipped for me. And they had two places, either Ohio or Las Vegas. Of course, Las Vegas had the better stuff. But per item, it made sense by the time it got to me, because even if some of the things were broken, they were still selling for a decent amount on eBay, selling as, parts or repair only. And on the manifest, exactly what you said, because the manifest says the MSRP is $4,000. When you're looking at the manifest and then you go and type that stuff on Amazon, it's a quarter of that, right? So doing the research before, I know, okay, I can't bid over this much or I'm going to be wasting money. So in the beginning, it was really good. As the pandemic got further, oh, and I'll say the stuff was selling really quick because everybody was working from home. So it was electronics. But as the pandemic got worse, obviously people were out of work looking for other things. Reselling became really hot. So these lots were, let's say the MSRP was 4,000. They were bidding these lots up to like 3,500, not taking into account shipping and stuff like that. So people were not doing the research and thought that the stuff in there was completely accurate or that it wasn't going to come in new mint condition and sell for that value. I knew that it wasn't, so it became really hard to get lots that were worth reselling. So I was like, I have to figure something out. And that's when I started going to the thrift store and just buying everything. And I ended up buying a couple pair of shoes, and then the rest is history with that one.
Well, I mean, it's great getting stuff at thrift stores, but sometimes I find when I go to the thrift stores, I may be in there for 45 minutes, an hour, and come home with 2, 3, 4, 5 items. And so I kind of like your business model where you can order stuff in bulk and have it shipped to your door. So right now I'm looking at buying, 1,000 CDs and paying 40 cents a piece. So I'm spending $400 on merchandise. But if I can sell them for at least $10 a piece times 1,000, now you've got $10,000 worth of merchandise that just shows up at your front door, as opposed to just running around to thrift stores and you come home with only a handful of items. But let me say hello real quick to a few people in the chat. I wanted to say hey to Cherry Picker Flipper is here. She wants to know what brands do you look for the most in sneakers. I wanted to say hey to Flip the World, and I wanted to say hey to LKL Graphics, and I wanted to say hey to Dana Invest is here. He says, Eric, you go empty spots in the wall behind you. You better get them full before your next live. and we had a question in the chat from the ATL Flipper. He wants to know, what is your biggest flip so far?
It's actually a pain. My biggest flip was a pair of like high top A1s. They were like a canvas material. There were no comps on eBay, so I ended up finding them on one of those sneaker sites. They were already sold, but they were a pair of like really nice canvas royal blue Nikes. And because they were I was into them for about $9 and they sold for $100. So that was great. That was a perfect flip. Recently just found out last night that the lady was trying to return them, but because they're in the authenticity guaranteed program, I can't communicate with her. So she gave me a neutral review saying, hey, I've been sending you messages. I want to return them because they don't fit, but I'm not getting them. And even when I tried to message her back, you get this big error that says you cannot communicate directly because it's the authenticity program or whatever. So I got to figure that one out. So it was my biggest flip, but it'll be coming back soon.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about sneakers. Cherry Picker Flipper says, what brands do you look for the most in sneakers? So, now when you first got started, you were just grabbing anything and everything, but it's kind of like you're paying your dues, you're paying your tuition to kind of learn the resale game, is to kind of trial and error and find out what sells and what doesn't sell. So what is it that you're looking for now? When you go to the thrift store, you go to the shoe section first or electronics? What's the first department that you go to, and what is it that you're looking for? Maybe you can give us something, show us a pair of shoes you have on your wall as illustration. Maybe you can show us what it is that you look for. Go ahead.
So I will say, yes, in the very beginning, I was grabbing anything. Don't do that. Grab something, go to the corner, do your research before you pay for it. So yeah, there was a lot of that in the beginning. Now I only go to the shoe section. I don't sell anything else. I've scraped everything else out of my store. I only sell shoes. So when I first go down the aisle, again, I have kind of a weird sourcing style, but it works for me. When I first hit the aisle, I'm looking for things that pop, things that are bright, that stick out. Usually they photograph really, really well for me, so they end up selling. Again, do your research after the fact, or once you go to the side. And then once I do my second pass, when I come back around, I'm looking for shoes that I've already sold, because I already know what they're going to be and what condition I need them to be in. And then the second time or the third time, when I come back down, I'm looking at every single shoe individually. And that's when I'll pull out things that I've never seen before. And I'll go to the side and look them up. And then at the end, I'll go to the corner, like right near the register. There's a little cutout where I like to stand in each store. And that's when I'm grading each shoe, making sure I didn't miss anything. So I don't pay for anything that I regret. Me and ATL end up talking about that.
Yeah, and so what brands of shoes, because I hear right now Nike is a really hot selling brand. Is there any other brand of shoes in particular? Could you name 2 or 3 brands that you look for when you first go over there?
I love Nike. I love Merrell. I love Hoka. I love Brooks. Brooks are incredible. Yeah, those are the ones that I look for the most. Oh, and certain Reeboks. Certain Reeboks do really well. I actually show them to you. These Reeboks, I was talking to Chris about them. These freestyles sell super fast when I get them listed, and they come in a variety of colors. So keep your eye out for those. Some Reeboks do sell.
All right. Now, what is your average cost of goods when you're in the shoe section? Do you buy new shoes as well? Like, do you go to Ross and Marshalls and buy new shoes, or do you mainly just sell used shoes?
I only do used. I tried to do retail arbitrage and buy new shoes, and I went out for like 3 or 4 hours, and I came home with 2 pair of golf shoes and some Reeboks. And it just, like, the time didn't really work out for me. So I only do used shoes, and I try to keep my cost of goods under $10. And again, I know before I leave the store that I'm gonna at least double or more if I stay under that 10.
Okay, so what rate of return do you say, okay, I'm going to buy these shoes for $9, $10, and I'm going to sell them for $40, $50? Like, on average, what would you say is like your average rate of return or your average sell for a pair of shoes?
At least 25. So like between 25, you'll see how I price my stuff. It's between 25, 27, and 31. Is that's just the range that works for me. Anything more than that, like a really good, like I just sold a really nice pair of Brooks that were pretty much brand new. Those are listed closer to 50, and they sold.
Okay, well, that's good. Yeah, my thing is, man, I guess I wouldn't call myself a lazy reseller, but I don't want to come home on a Saturday and spend my Saturday cleaning dirty shoes. Like, that's just not my thing. If I could get something that's brand new in the shrink wrap and grab it, like today, for example, I went to the Dollar Tree and grabbed 10 Blu-rays off the shelf. So if I can go do that, something that's already brand new in the shrink wrap, take a photo front and back, and turn my $10 into 120, 150. I'd rather do that as opposed to just coming home and I'm trying to scrub an old pair of Reeboks or Nikes that someone had got mud in or something, or stepped in a mud puddle. Like, to me, that doesn't sound super appealing to me, but it works for you. So you said you make pretty decent profit margin. How many shoes do you currently have listed in your eBay store right now?
About 630, but I have over 100 unlisted pair in various stages. Like, I have like 50 pair right there that are cleaned and ready to take pictures of, and including these here. And then I got 4 buckets here of ones that are inventory that need to be cleaned. And then I have a bunch upstairs that I just recently got that will come downstairs tonight, and then they'll go through like my little process. So I keep churning them out. And I will say with the old shoes and stuff, when I very first started getting shoes, the dirtier the better for me, because they were cheaper, so they kept my cost of goods down. But even scraping a little dirt off in the store, for me, I missed a lot. And I touched on this when I talked to ATL, and I talked to Chris about it too, Chris and Derek. They're dirty, you get them home, you start cleaning them, and they freaking fall apart. So recently I started changing the way I source, and my cost of goods has gone up slightly, still staying under 10, but stuff that doesn't need a lot of cleaning. So that cuts my time in half. So the time it would take me to clean 1 pair, I'm knocking out like 3. So I have kind of changed, because the dirt and mud everywhere, it's a pain.
Yeah, well, I understand. It's just that you're buying these shoes, right? You're having to go through the work of checking them out in the store. You're looking up sold comps, see what they're selling for. Then you get home. Then you're going through like the cleaning and testing phase, where you're making sure they're not broken. You're cleaning them up. Then you're having to stage them, take photographs of them, then storing them, and then boxing them up and shipping them. It's like you're adding an extra step. But I'm not knocking. If that's what works for you with your business, then keep doing it if that's your thing. But to me, it's like I sell probably 90% of my merchandise that's already new in the shrink wrap. So when I come home, I don't have to go through this whole, just say you buy a DVD VHS combo player. Well, when you come home, you're having to clean all the dust off of it. You have to put a DVD in there, test it, make sure everything works. Like, I would like to just cut that step out, just take a photo, list it, and then when it sells, put it in a padded envelope and ship it out and just be done with it. Because I'm busy doing other things, shooting YouTube videos or working, doing other stuff. I don't want to sit here on my Saturday and be, cleaning them. But let me say hello here to a few people in the chat. Flip the World is here. Dana Invest says, I have a $75 pair of Arrett boots. I haven't cleaned them because the bottom is full of horse crap, and I don't want to deal with it.
You got to
So
smell.
that's exactly what I was talking about. Like, I'm not hating on you, bro. If that's your hustle, that's your thing. Keep doing it. The ATL Flipper says I'm cleaning some shoes right now,
Yep.
and Flip the World says I'm walking into a Goodwill to find some.
Nice.
We have Keith is here, and I wanted to say hey to the Thrift Shop Hustler is here in the house. So what's up, Thrift Shop Hustler? He was just on with me the other day. So if you guys haven't got a chance to check him out, yeah, go check his channel out. And I wanted to say hey to the Selling Sniper. And he says, Jeff, why do you hate on us dirty shoe sellers? I'm not, that's your thing. Like I said, if you love selling shoes, if I was hating on you, bro, I wouldn't bring you on the channel to hate on you.
I know,
You know, I wouldn't be bringing you on here to promote you. I'm not hating on you, bro. I'm just saying, to me, it's almost like you're rolling your sleeves up, almost like you're washing somebody else's dirty car, you know? And that, to me, this is not appealing to me, bro. So, anyway,
like, things got faster when I just got into shoes, which is crazy, right? Like when I was doing all these different categories, different boxes, different envelopes, it took me like 3 times as long to do anything. But now just having one thing to focus on, you know, you get the free shoe boxes from USPS and just bubble wrap, like the speed is much faster, which is insane. Cause you factor in all those cleaning and cleaning and stuff, but it's actually gotten faster, which is nuts. When you list all the steps out,
So tell me a little bit about how has your sales been like for the past 60 or 90 days? Have you been hitting that wall with summer slowdown, or have you been making sales throughout the summer?
Sales have been good. And that's just being very consistent, pricing well. Like my thing is it's more about turnover on most shoes. Like I'm not going to give them away, but I'm not going to price them crazy high. Like I usually try to price them a little bit under the competition, promote everything. I don't offer free shipping and I don't have free returns. So because of that, I promote a little bit more. Like I was promoting like around 3%. And once I changed to buyer pays return shipping, I upped it to 5% to kind of offset that. Cause I know like that's something that helps you, but sales have been very good, very consistent. There will be like 1 or 2 days where I have like 1 or 2 sales, but then the next day it'll be like double that, right? Like double I'm usually like 5 to 6 per day. And if I have like a 1 or 2 day, then the next day I have like 9 or 10. Like, so it seems to even out across the board as long as I'm listing every day.
Okay. Now, you've been listing a lot of items. You've been making a lot of sales. What portion of your money do you reinvest? Because I was watching your YouTube video. You were talking about how you were taking money out of your resale business to like invest it. But then you're like, okay, then my sales slow down because I didn't take that capital and reinvest it back into my business to buy more merchandise. Because that's the thing. It's like you may have a great month 1 month, but if you don't take a good portion of that money and reinvest it to buy more merchandise, what's going to happen the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th month? Because you got to have stuff on the shelf to sell. I mean, it's the same way with Walmart or Target or Best Buy. They have to reinvest to have merchandise on the shelf. You don't go into Walmart and all the shelves are empty. You know, there's the shelves are full. So how do you? What percentage of your money would you say you reinvest, and how much of that do you use towards like paying bills?
So when I was pulling money out to reinvest, that was all last year. That was a part of me making the worst mistakes, buying the wrong inventory, not reinvesting in the business, treating it like an ATM. Trash. That was terrible. From the like December when I was like, all right, that's enough. I need to start going back in. Now 100% of the money is reinvested, and that's temporary because once we get to October, I'll start pulling it out as I start like this, not a challenge, but documenting like paying off my student loans with the business. So everything has been in and 100% reinvested. And in October, I'll start pulling out, monthly for that. But it'll be a portion. I'm going to like really track it and say, okay, this amount is going to reinvest. This is going to taxes. And this much is what I want to monthly pay on, student loans. So that's coming. I've been doing a lot better with keeping money in the business this year.
All right, cool. So talk a little bit about that, because it's one of the things I don't talk a ton about personal finance, but since you brought it up, like, what is your goal? Like, how long do you think it's going to take you to have your student loans paid off? And then talk to me a little bit about this transition, because we were talking backstage before we went live. You said eventually you would like to become a full-time reseller. So kind of tell me a little bit of the blueprints of the plan of how that works, because you don't just, show up day one and be like, hey, I'm here, I'm a full-time reseller. Like, you have to kind of work your way in that, in that direction, and it takes some time. So tell us a little bit about your paying off student loans, your plan for that, and then your plan to be in full time. Go ahead.
So I and it's kind of changed a little bit. So my initial goal was 100% paying my student loans off with my business, and I was aiming for about 3 to 4 years, just comfortably, because I don't want to yank all the money out of the business. Like, again, I've done that before, and that does not work. Recently, talking with my wife and stuff, and I was talking to Derek about it. Being a team, I'm comfortably thinking 2 years to pay off all my student loans, and then we also in the process want to have a certain amount liquid in the bank, and then in savings, and then we'll have that conversation about, okay, is it time to go full time? And for us, full time, well, I'll say for me to feel like we would be comfortable, I need to bring home 3 times the amount profit after everything as to what I'm making now. And hopefully during this journey of paying off my student loans and getting better, I'll start generating that, over the 2 to 3 years. And that's the goal. And then hopefully once we get past that, have, just our mortgage, then the sky's the limit.
So I don't know if you want to answer this question, but is she working right now as well? Or does she help you with your reselling business, or how is that going?
So it's funny you guys said PhD. My wife actually does have her PhD, and she loves the job that she has. So her goal is to stay with the job that she loves, and that will be, our security if needed, health insurance and things like that. But she genuinely loves her job, so it would be easier to transition. She does help me with reselling. She does all of my drafts for me. So when I bring the shoes home, I take a picture of the shoe and the tag, and then she goes to town building all the drafts. So then by the time they're clean and I take my photos, they're launched. So she's like she works behind the scenes getting all that stuff ready. And she loves when I bring shoes home. So I have to make sure that I don't have a lot of shoes in her size, so they actually make it to eBay.
Right, I hear you. So, well, that's good that your wife actually supports you and actually helps you draft and helps you list items in the business and all that. And then you said your goal is within the next 3 to 4 years, you're going to have your student loan debt paid off. And then after that, you can start, like you said, working on getting your mortgage paid off and all that. I can relate. I didn't have a bunch of student loans, but like in 2020, I was trying to work to get my car paid off because I was like, man, if I didn't have full coverage insurance and have this extra car payment, that would save me like $400 a month right there, which doesn't sound like a lot, but think about if you had that extra $400 a month to go invest to get inventory instead of paying out in car notes every month, you'd be like, hey, I have this extra capital freed up, instead of it going out the window every month. So for sure, the Thrift Shop Hustler said that's smart to have a regular salary and backup plan and have a few months of salary set aside. Yeah. So tell me, what is your plan when you decide to go full time? Are you going to hire people, or are you going to expand and maybe get a warehouse or a storage unit? Like, because as you grow and expand, you're either going to run into 3 things. You're either going to run out of time, you're going to run out of space, or you're going to run out of capital to invest into your business. That's it. Those are like the 3 like bottlenecks that people have. So, I mean, you only have so much space. Like where I'm at in Florida, we don't have basements. We're in Florida. So where exactly, what are you going to be storing your merchandise? And are you planning to expand? Like how many items would you like to have listed in the future?
So I definitely agree with you. Time and space has been my roadblock this past year. Like it's been insane. So right now I'm keeping everything in the house. So I'll back up. Originally I just scaled down to records and shoes. Once I got rid of the records, it freed up so much more space in the basement area that I have. And I've been able to push this to about 800 items. I can store about 800 shoes comfortably. I recently moved some more stuff out of the back, took that to Goodwill. So I think I can comfortably keep about 1,000 shoes in the house. And that's the goal, to stay in the house as long as possible. But once I go full time and actually have more time to get inventory, definitely get one of the storage units and then try to double whatever I'm doing. And I don't know if I'll move it completely there, but definitely a good chunk of it will be there to definitely expand. I don't necessarily know if I want a warehouse right away, but definitely a storage unit.
Do you have a backyard?
We do, but we have an HOA. So building a shed that would be climate controlled would be a freaking pain, because that's what my wife said. Why don't we just build a shed out back? And I was like, yeah, we could, but it would probably cost more time and energy, and I probably would pack it out. too fast. So
Well, I was just thinking if you was able to pay cash and get a shed as opposed to paying a monthly payment in a storage unit, because I have a shed and I have a 5-car garage in the back, and then I have my little workstation here where I kind of process and take photos and list and all that. So I have a pile like the unlisted here, processing, and then the listed stuff's here. And then when I get a pile of stuff listed, then I'll take it out to the shed and store it. But yeah, man, I mean, I would maybe consider that, or if you have a basement, or maybe if you have a garage. Maybe, you know, you don't have to take up the whole garage, but if you have a garage, there are, I don't have an illustration, but they have these metal racks that you can put on the wall, like of your garage or something. And if you have those metal racks, it's similar to what you have with your shoes. And that way you can have these little metal racks and you can put bins in there, and maybe you could use that as space as well. You just got to think outside the box, because you don't want to have to start paying $200-300 a month for a storage unit if you don't have to, especially because you have to think if you sold a pair of shoes for $30, how many of those $30 pair of shoes a month would you have to pay to cover your storage fee? I don't know what it is. It would vary. And plus, every time you sold something, you're having to get in your car and drive to the storage unit to find the items to pull and pack them and ship them. That's why I was trying to see if there's any kind of way you can alleviate that by having a basement or a garage or a shed or something at your house that you can do. So, that sounds good.
I definitely want to stay in the house as long as possible, because exactly that. It's not just the money for the storage rental, it's then the time and gas going and getting it, and you know how much time does that eat up. So yeah, I definitely want to stay in the house as much as possible. And it's funny you said bins, because I was looking at some of the other areas where I can't put shelves, and I was like, I bet I could put a few bins back there. So yeah, I've been thinking of different ways to stay home as long as possible.
Yeah, I mean, if you just, I don't have a bin system. When most of my items are media items, so it's easier for me to kind of have the spine sticking out. So when I'm scrolling through, I can be like, oh, here's the item I'm looking for. Grab it, pull it, pack it, and ship it out. But for your case, if you're selling a lot of shoes or clothing or something like that, you can have a bin and then just write on the title of the description at the end of it, say like Converse, you know, Air Jordans 1 or whatever, and then put AA or BB or C or whatever it is on it. So that way when it sells, you know what bin it's in, and you just open the bin and you're like, oh, here they are. Here's, you know, these Converse that I sold, and then you can find them quickly and ship them out. So do you mind talking a little bit about what you do on your regular day job, how that works? Do you have a job? Do you work from home? Do you go to the office? Like, what does your regular day job look like? Your regular like schedule Monday through Friday?
So I have a government job, so I have to go there, and it's a 9 to 5, but we can like flex our hours as long as we get, you know, all our hours in a certain amount of time, but we have to be there. So it's like all day I'm just daydreaming. I'm like, okay, within this 8 hours, I know what I could be doing for the business. But again, it's just, you know, something I gotta get through for the time being. You know, I'm fortunate to have a job to take care of the family, but I know what we could do, me and my wife could do, you know, in the future with that time back. So yeah, that's my day job.
So when you get off your 9 to 5, like how many days a week do you go sourcing? Like, do you try to go 3-4 days a week? Do you try to go on the weekends every day?
I try to go every day because we have 2 young kids, 3 and 5, and you just never know what's going to happen with them. Like a couple of weeks ago, my youngest got sick and we were in the hospital with her. And, you know, that during that time, it was, you know, 100% for her. Luckily, I had a bunch of inventory at home. So once we got home with her and she was good, I was able to, you know, bring stuff upstairs, clean it, take it downstairs, photo it, come back upstairs and list it. So I go, as soon as I get off, I hit whatever store I can with the time that I have, hit the post office, get the kids and come home, eat dinner, start working. So it's every day. Every day.
You sound like you got your hands full. You're working your full-time job. You have a wife, you have 2 kids, a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old. You have your eBay business, and then plus you're trying to shoot YouTube videos. So you only have so many hours in a day to do it all, bro. So you know, sounds like you're working hard. So tell me, what type of piece of advice you have to pass along? You've been doing this for a while, specifically with your resale business. What would be like 3 tips that you could give somebody to help them out with their business?
Okay, first, you do not need a lot of money to get started on eBay. I don't regret selling all of my records to get started, but I did it to get started and it yielded me about $2,000. You can get started with $30 or whatever you have lying around your house. So that's my first advice. Don't spend a lot of money initially. 2, just do your research. Don't go into the store and just buy something because it's $5 $6, whatever, because you'll have a cart full of crap that may or may not sell, and it may not be in the condition you think that it's going to be in. 3, stay consistent. Just stay consistent. Don't get all this stuff, bring it home, and just let it sit to the side and not have a plan to get it listed. That like those are the 3 things that killed me in the beginning, and I failed to realize it. I was, it's customers, it's eBay, it's this, it's that. No, it was me. So avoid those 3 things, pay attention to those 3 things, and you'll be fine. At any level, you'll be fine.
Yeah, it's easy to get sidetracked when you come home and then you're trying to do laundry or trying to cook dinner, or you're trying to give a kid a bath, and it's like you went to the store, you checked the sold comps, and everything was good. You have the inventory ready to list, but then somehow it goes into this, death pile or in a closet somewhere, and you don't get around to listing it, and it's just like you just have dead money sitting there. So I definitely can relate to that. So tell everybody a little bit about your YouTube channel you started recently. If they go by and check you out on YouTube, tell them what kind of content you make on there. Do you do a lot of like what sold videos? Do you do sourcing videos? Like what are some of the content that you make on your channel?
So I need to start doing more on my channel. Recently, the past month and some change, I've been only posting lives there. It's weird. It's I really enjoy doing YouTube, but I enjoy doing lives more because I don't have to like create, right? Like I can just turn on the camera and start talking. But that for me, it doesn't bring a lot of views. So next to the channel would be thrifting with me, and maybe not what solds, but if I don't film while I'm out there, once I get back, like, hey, this is what I picked up. So I plan to try to kind of change it up on my YouTube channel. But yeah, please come by. We do a live every Thursday. It's really fun. And yeah, we just hang out for an hour and talk, or hopefully an hour. Sometimes it goes over, but yeah, more content coming soon.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, I like doing live streams as well, just because I don't want to spend a lot of time editing when I could be listed items. I could be out doing other productive things. Yeah, it's like, I just don't like doing a lot of editing. But next week, I just signed up, guys. I'm created a Twitch account, so I'm going to be streaming on YouTube and on Twitch. And next week, probably within the next week or so, I'm going to be starting this podcast with Rosin Grind Picker. So we're working on all the details out. I don't know if you guys know, but on StreamYard, they have this new little thing they started the last week or so where you can do pre-recorded videos. So we're going to start streaming. We're going to do like pre-recorded videos and then drop them there. And then that way we'll have it on the YouTube, and it's going to be streaming podcasts as well. So there's other different ways you can create content besides just on YouTube and StreamYard. So let me say hello here to a few people in the chat. I wanted to say hi to real quick. Dragon Value Home is here. What's up, Dragon? Hey. And I wanted to say hello to Sal's HQ. He says, I'm late. Salute eBay addicts. It's okay, bro. It's okay. You can catch the replay. That's why it's recorded. I wanted to say hey to Chosen Good Reseller. Says, how's it going? Sorry I'm late. It's all right, guys. It's the weekend. Good. We're trying to chill and relax a little bit. And he says, don't forget to hit the like button.
Thanks, man.
I don't know what this person says. I can't find a 10-gallon plastic bin at Walmart anymore since the beginning of 2021. Well, if you look around, I'm sure if you look around some other places at Lowe's or Home Depot or Big Lots, I'm sure if you look around, you'll be able to find bins. There's plenty of them out there. Also, check locally. Look on OfferUp. Look on Craigslist. Somebody will have some locally. You might be able to catch some at a yard sale. So anyways, we had a good time hanging out with you today. Tell everybody where they can go by and check you out on YouTube and Instagram.
Yes, so you can catch me on Instagram, which is my handle right here. If you go in my link tree, it'll have all the links to my eBay store and to my YouTube. All go by the same name, Red Mountain Resell. So please check me out. This was amazing. I really appreciate you having me on. A lot of fun, a lot of people in here too. So it was awesome.
Okay, yeah, for sure, man. So I think you're at like 77, 78 subscribers. So I'd like to see you hit 100 subscribers. That would be nice. Yeah. And do you have any words of wisdom or any piece of advice you would like to leave our audience with?
Just stay consistent and watch your cost of goods. That's my two biggest things that killed me in the beginning. So just watch those and you will be fine.
Yeah, well, staying consistent, watching your cost of goods, and reinvest your capital. That's one thing that drives me crazy is I see these people when they show their 90-day total, and then I see them like 2 weeks later on a vacation or buying some expensive item, and I'm like, man, in my brain, because I'm thinking I know I can turn $100 into $1,000. I know that. Absolutely. So when I see people taking money and they're spent, you know, $100 on a watch or something that's consumer item instead of reinvest in your business. I'm like, you know, you could take that $100 and turn it into 1,000. Like, I know you could do that. So you just not everybody has the same goals or the same ambitions. So I just let you just do you. But till next time, go by and check out our guests. We have Red Mountain Resell. Check them out on YouTube and Instagram. All the links are down below. I will see you guys on Tuesday. I have a brand new guest coming up next week. His name is called, I think it's Sourcing Monster, not Profit Monster, Sourcing Monster. And this guy does about $1 million a year on Amazon. So if you want to learn more about how to make money on Amazon, you have questions for our guest, I'll see you on Tuesday at 4 o'clock Eastern. I'll see you then. Till then, you guys have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys Tuesday. Bye, everybody.